On May 31, 1794, the 11-year-old Niccolò Paganini performed for the first time as a solist at San Filippo Oratorio. In 1796, he attended Alessandro Rolla's lessons in Parma. When Niccolò and his father reached Parma, Rolla was sick, lying in bed. His wife let them wait in a room until she will communicate her husband who the visitors were and the purpose of their visit. On a table there lied a fresh written concerto by Rolla and a violin. At a sign of his father, Niccolò took the violin and executed the concerto in such a great interpretation that Rolla totally forgot about being sick, jumped out of bed, and appeared on the threshold of the room to see who performed his work, and Rolla was surprised. Instead of teaching me violin, he advised me to take counterpoint lessons with Napolitan Maestro Ghiretti, a violoncellist of the court and professor of Maestro Paia. Funny, Paganini does not recognize having taken lessons with Alessandro Rolla. His contemporaries affirm that he was the pupil of this reputed violinist and violist. But let's listen to him. In fact, Ghiretti, gave me 3 lessons per week, teaching me the counterpoint without the instrument, only with the feather. Ghiretti loved me so much that he overwhelmed me with lessons, and under his supervising I composed abundantly instrumental music. As we see, apart from his counterpoint, he studied with Ghiretti instrumental music. In Caprice number 24, we encounter the same simple, endearing tones that we encounter at Corelli. Also, Tartini, since whose death had passed only 25 years, used certain procedures to have more expression possibilities. He made the archet longer and made it more straight. He used thicker strings to obtain a warmer tonality. Paganini will adopt in the beginning of his career both procedures. He will also be interested in so-called the third sound discovered by Tartini, with whom he shared the same inquisitive spirit. He will spend hours searching for new sounds and astonishing effects. He returned in Genova in 1801 and deepened his study of the guitar. With this instrument, of which he would acquire absolute mastery, Paganini would not perform in public, however. So he went to Lucca, where his concerts began to arouse wonder and amazement. He gave a concert to Teatro della Racchetta, where he performed 2 concertos for violin, his own compositions, that are lost today, with which he attained great success. During this time, he suffered severe pneumonia, so that he barely escapes alive. Thanks to his use, he regains health, to the delight of his admirers, whose number increased greatly. One day, a meloman and amateur violinist, Painter Passini, shows him a Guarneri and the manuscript of a very difficult concerto, telling him, "If you play this at first sight, the violin is yours." "I won," will later tell Paganini, not without pride. From 1805 to 1807, he became first violinist at the court orchestra of the Republic of Lucca, in which his brother was employed, and later joined the court of Elisa Bonaparte Bacciocchi, Napoleon's sister. The progressist in between, young poet Ugo Foscolo, lived under the impression that arise the aurora of perpetuum sun. Foscolo writes an ode to Bonaparte, Giovine Eroe, called Bonaparte Liberatore, and he dates it Anno Primo dell'Italia Liberata. People with high ideals attended from Bonaparte and his army Italy's recovery from the economic, social, and moral slump. Only Genova, Lucca, and Venezia were at the time republics. At Parma, where in meantime Niccolò was continuing his studies, from the very first day of the armistice between France and Piedmont, at 28th of April 1796, life feels hard and unsecure. Paganini and his father can no longer stay in Parma, where musical life becomes impossible because of the military and political events, so they go back to Genoa. Here Niccolò leads a closed life with no friends and no other joy than the one derived from assiduous work and the visits to the Dinegro Marquise, who possessed a rich bibliothèque in literature and musical works. One evening, he has the joy to be introduced to one of the greatest violinists of that time, Rodolphe Kreutzer, to whom Beethoven dedicated the Sonata for Violin and Piano 47. During the months of November 1796, he came to Genoa for a concert and played during the evening of 27 of November at a festival held in honor of Josephine Bonaparte, the wife of Napoleon. Kreutzer was invited to Dinegro's house. The French violinist had brought with him one of his difficult compositions. The Marquise asked Niccolò to try play it. After he looked at it once, this one interpreted it with such precision and artistry that the foreigner, amazed, predicted him an exceptional glory, would later say poet Isola. Paganini, accompanied by his father, goes on a tour and visits Milano, Bologna, Pisa, and Livorno. Here he will stay for several months, giving few concerts and perfecting his style and technique. Here, asked by a dilettante not finding difficult music for bass sons, he composes a very difficult piece for him, which proves not only the composer talent of the young violinist, but a profound technical knowledge of instruments from other families. In December 1789, war starts again, and father and son hurry to return home to Genoa, which is attacked by Austrians. The family of Paganini had withdrawn to Val Polcevera in solitude and rural tranquility. Niccolò is 17 years old, and the severity of his father oppresses him, becomes unbearable to him. Antonio even tries to impose him a certain way to play the violin that does not match the technique and temperament of his son. It's spring. Paganini composes a Fandango Espagnol, which is a call to dance and love. In between very difficult virtuosity passages and passionate rhythm, he introduces onomatopoeic effects. This composition he first played at Modena in 31 December 1800 and did not survive. Closed indoors in the bibliothèque of the Marquise di Negro, Niccolò studies the works of previous maestros, Vivaldi, Scarlatti, Tartini's Sonata The Devil Trill, and many others, especially two works of Pietro Antonio Locatelli, The Art of Violin, which contains 12 concerti grossi and 24 caprices, and L'Arte di Nova Modulazione, called also Capricci Enigmatici. Back home, Paganini composed difficult music, studying new techniques he invented in order to master them, and he composes other concertos and variazioni. In between his works, a masterpiece of violinistic literature is 24 caprices for violin solo dedicated to the artist. They embody all the thoughts and feelings that tortured young Paganini in these tormented times. The most acute is his desire to escape from the tutel of his father.